Every system begins with an idea. Every invention begins with a vision. Every application begins with a design. And every object begins with a creation. Before an object can live, it must first be created. Have you ever wondered how an object is born? Not a human, not an animal, not even a machine, but an object inside a computer program. Every mobile application you use, every website you visit, every game you play is filled with thousands, sometimes millions of objects working together. They display information, they process data, they communicate with one another. But before any of that can happen, before an object can perform a single action, before it can store a single piece of information, it must first come into existence. And that journey begins now. In the real world, everything has a beginning. A tree begins as a seed. A building begins as a blueprint. A book begins as an idea inside someone's mind. Nothing simply appears. Everything starts somewhere. Programming follows the same principle. Objects do not magically exist. They are designed, they are planned, and they are created for a purpose. Understanding the beginning is the first step toward understanding object-oriented programming itself. Before an object can exist, there must be a class. Think of a class as a blueprint. A blueprint describes what something should look like. It defines characteristics. It defines behavior. It defines possibilities. But a blueprint is not the building. A recipe is not the meal. And a class is not an object. A class simply describes what an object could become. The actual object has not yet been born. So how does an object finally come to life? In Java, the journey usually begins with a single keyword. The keyword is a new. It may look simple, but behind that small word, something extraordinary happens. Memory is allocated and space is reserved. And a brand new object begins its existence inside the program. What was once only a design now becomes reality. The moment an object is created, it experiences something important. Its constructor is called. Think of the constructor as the welcoming process of a new object. It prepares the object for life. It assigns initial values. It ensures everything is ready. Without a constructor, an object would enter the system incomplete. Constructors give structure to creation. They transform empty memory into meaningful objects. Sometimes an object is created without any special instructions, no custom values, no unique identity. In these situations, Java provides default values automatically. Strings become null. Numeric values become 0. Boolean values become false. The object is alive, but it is still waiting to become something more specific, like a newborn entering the world with possibilities yet to be explored. Sometimes objects are born with unique identities, different values, different characteristics, different purposes, like Toyota, Honda, and BMW. Because different inputs will create different objects. Birth is only the beginning. Being created is not enough. An object must do something. It receives data, executes methods, changes its state, and begins interacting with the world around it. This is where life truly begins. An object lives. It grows through interactions. It changes over time. It performs actions. It communicates with other objects. It exists for a purpose. Just like living systems, every object has a journey. No object lives completely alone. Objects collaborate. Objects share responsibilities. Objects form relationships. And together, they build systems far greater than themselves. Behind the scenes, every object occupies memory. Objects live in the heap. References live in the stack. And together, they allow programs to remember and access data efficiently. But nothing lasts forever. Eventually, an object is no longer needed, no longer referenced, no longer used. Its journey approaches the end. Fortunately, Java helps us. Through garbage collection, unused objects are identified. Memory is and the system remains healthy, ready for the next generation of objects. Every object has a life. It is born, it lives, it interacts, it occupies memory, And eventually, it says goodbye. But its story teaches us something important. Systems are built from countless journeys like these. We have learned how objects are born, how they live, how they interact, and how they leave. But the journey does not end here. Because objects alone do not change the world. Systems do. In the next chapter, we will discover how objects come together to build real applications. Keep coding, keep learning, keep building. The best is yet to come.